everyone. Welcome to LexTalk, World Talk Show presented by Clickaway Creators. Today, we have Ms. Rania Ghosheh, a founding member and senior partner at Ittqan Consulting Services in Palestine. She is also a partner and legal consultant for Mena Apps in Jordan. She was a co-founder of Arabreneur and served as ambassador of the global competition SeedStarsWorld in Palestine itself. Ms. Rania is a business lawyer with long experience in corporate and business law, intellectual property law, contract negotiation and drafting, as well as other sectors. She volunteers with human rights organizations and has great passion for female entrepreneurship. Wonderful. Hello, Ms. Rania. How are you?
Hello, Bharti. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm absolutely amazing. It is a pleasure having you here, Ms. Rania, with us. And I'm really interested to know about your legal journey, how it has been as as a female lawyer as well, and otherwise.
Well, I'm a Palestinian born in Palestine. As a lawyer, my journey has been very interesting, very changing from time to time. It started when I left the university to study in France. I was awarded a scholarship by the French consulate, aiming to study political science. I was a true believer that I'm a politician at that stage, coming out of the first intifada. Obviously, we all need to be politicians. And so I wanted to go and study political science in France. For some reasons, I ended up doing law. I did not like it for the first 2 years. I did not like law, I have to admit, and there's nothing wrong about admitting it. So I decided that I have to do something that makes me either like it or leave it. So I transferred from Lyon to Paris, to the Sorbonne, and I decided I want to focus merely on public international law and human rights. And at that point, I fell in love with it. I found myself, I enjoyed it, graduated with a public international law degree from the Sorbonne, and came back to Palestine immediately and decided to proceed with a career within the political atmosphere going on at that time with the Oslo agreements. And I worked for almost 2 years at the Palestinian Ministry of Planning and International Cooperation, attended lots of negotiation sessions between the PLO and Israel at that time. It was a very interesting and learning experience, but I did not feel that I could accomplish a lot at that time. And so I decided I want to venture. And it was an opportunity for me to try to explore my profession as a lawyer. I trained for the Palestinian bar, and living in East Jerusalem under the Israeli occupation, I had also to train for the Israeli bar and to learn Hebrew as well, which I did. And I started practicing as a private lawyer within a law firm in East Jerusalem. It was a very enriching experience and learning experience. Then I moved to doing my own private practice. At a certain point, I was blessed to have 2 daughters, lovely daughters. I decided to dedicate some time for them. And then came the second intifada, always ever changing in these territories. The situation is never clear. And I took some time off with my 2 daughters. And later on, it was time to pick up again. I decided to start a law firm in the sense of a law firm because in the Palestinian part of the world, the practice of law within law firms is merely something more related to family established law firms or individual law firms. And I was very, very passionate about establishing a law firm like elsewhere in the world. I spoke to 2 of my friends and colleagues, Mohanad Asaf and Ashraf Alfar, and we brought together our ideas and dreams to establish a law firm, a proper law firm. And that's in 2007 where we decided to launch Ittqan Law Firm. And today I'm proud to say that Ittqan Law Firm is the largest law firm in Palestine. We bring together over 60 people of lawyers, interns, and admin staff. working all over the Palestinian territories and having relations, regional relations also, and external relations. Throughout this experience, also I ventured more. I took a break and I left Palestine for 5 years almost, and I moved to Jordan and started with my husband an accelerator for startups. That was a very interesting experience where I lived as a businesswoman rather than a lawyer, as an investor, as a mentor, as a coach for entrepreneurs. A fascinating experience that had left a footprint on my career later on.
Wow, Rania, I am extremely impressed and inspired at the same time with your journey. And also, one thing that I really wanted you to throw light on is that being a woman, were there any, different struggles that you, I mean, it's a fact that people, have their own struggles, but at the same time, what were your struggles as a woman, a legal expert?
Well, um, since I was a kid and up till now, I always believe that if a person believes that he has the competence and the will to do something, they can make it. And nowadays, as I grew with all these challenges about female gender gaps and all these issues, I'm still at the same point that as a female, if you feel that you can do it, you can make it. Throughout my experience, I have to admit that I never faced challenges as a female or as a woman. On the contrary, within our community, within my practice, I felt that I could always take the challenges, embark on the challenges that I wanted, succeed sometimes, fail sometimes, like any ordinary person, regardless of being a male or a female. Nevertheless, there were some points where it was funny enough. There were occasions where it was funny enough. I remember I had traveled on a delegation to a startup summit in one of the countries, and I was leading the delegation as a female investor. And it was mainly a male community. And still, to a certain extent, when you talk about business investors, startup communities, it's rather a male community. And when I started talking to other investors and entrepreneurs, I was faced by a question, okay, who's heading the delegation? I was like, I am heading the delegation. But who's the investor? I am the investor. And it was funny enough that you need to try to prove yourself that you are the investor in this context, a male-dominated context. It was interesting. It was good. It was not very challenging because it was enough to start talking about what you want to do and believing in it. Throughout my profession and as a lawyer, I always wanted to prove myself, to prove that I can make it. As a Palestinian lawyer, this is a challenge. As a woman, this is a challenge. As probably a religious woman, this could be in some context also a challenge. It has been interesting, and I'm very satisfied about where I am right now. But I also believe that women, when they believe in themselves, it's not enough to go ahead and do what you are doing. You need also to extend a hand to other women. And this is what I did in my practice at the law firm. We have lots of successful female lawyers that I'm very proud of at Ittqan Law Firm. Even when I started with my husband, the accelerator in Jordan, I tended all the time with my husband to have at least over 40% of female participation within the startups that we incubated and we supported and we invested in. I'm very proud to say that one of the startups that I invested in is led by a female. And throughout these 10 years of investment and mentorship and support, now she stands at one of the most successful companies in the Middle East with revenue of millions of dollars. And she's employing over 1,500 females as well. So this chain of supporting each other as women, extending a hand to others, we understand the constraints, we know what we go through, and we have to really know where to intervene and how to support each other. And it's challenging, it's lovely, but it's rewarding at the same time. To me as a lawyer, I feel that I have accomplished something, and to my colleagues, they are accomplishing, they are doing it. I have lots of female friends, colleagues who are very successful as well. And But we believe we need to do more. We need to do more to establish ourselves, not from the perspective of because we are women, we need to ask for more, from the perspective that we know we can do it and we are there to do it, and not to undermine what we do other than the profession. As mothers, as daughters, as sisters, we do a lot. We have really not to undermine what we're doing and to present it as some sort of weakness. On the contrary, we are strong enough because we can handle all these things and make it also in our career as well.
Wow, truly inspiring. Again, you know, I'm sure the women audience would be basically very impressed by what you have just mentioned, and it's just amazing to know about your journey, not as just a legal professional, but also as a woman. You know, that's the best part about your journey. So, coming to my next question, I am again, you know, very interested in knowing about your most memorable case, and I'm sure, you know, when you're in a legal profession or any other profession, you have key takeaways from everything and anything. So, your most memorable case and your key takeaways from there.
Well, one of the turning points and memorable cases or the jobs that I undertook as a lawyer was in around 2005. I was working as a part-time legal advisor to PICTI, that is a Palestine ICT incubator. When you talk 2005 and when you talk startups and you talk seed funding, these were expressions that were totally unknown, obscure to people in this part of the world mainly. When you talk about an incubator in 2005, seed funding, VC capital, angel investment, these were totally new. And when I embarked on this mission, I had to learn a lot. I did a lot of reading. At that time, the literature in this respect was very minimal. It required lots of reading, lots of learning from my side. And at that stage, I am very proud to say that I worked on the first sale of a startup to a major company in Palestine in this part of the world. I think that was one of the first acquisitions of startups in this part of the world. I took this part as a lawyer for the startup, and I'm very proud to have accomplished it at that time. And it left a big mark on my career because the world of startups and incubators, from a business perspective, from a lawyer perspective, from an economic perspective, it has proven to have helped lots of countries in the world. It has proven to have brought together the mind and the money at the same time, opened the doors for talents, and paved the road for new businesses to come up and create a new motor in the economic cycle in countries that need help, as well as developing countries. I mean, lots of the IT startups have ended up in major acquisitions, in exits, amazing, unbelievable exits. In our part of the world, there has been some very interesting exits as well. This is why I'm very proud to have been part of this exit or this sale at that time, and to build on it and to develop it. Nowadays, working at Ittqan, we offer our services to such startups that have been built and accumulated on years of experience of working. Of course, later it has developed and the world has opened up to these notions and to these ideas. And we extend a very strong hand to these startups and also to accelerators, to institutions who work on helping them, to investors as well, because investors play a big role. Understanding the needs and requirements of each of these stakeholders requires a lot. And having been part of this experience years ago, having also practiced as an investor, lived the life of an investor, coached and mentored startups, has put me in a position really to understand how this game takes place, to give proper advice to each one of these stakeholders, relatively speaking, when I deal with each one of them aside. Help me within the firm, we have experienced lawyers that understand these things, funding perspective, investor perspective, entrepreneur perspective, institutional perspective. So we're able to bring together all these insights together and give the proper advice.
Thank you so much, Rania, for throwing light on the cases, and also on the key takeaways that you have taken from there. Um, how do you look at business law in 2021, and how do you think that it's going to change maybe 5 years down the line? I'm not asking 10 years down the line because you never know what's going to happen. The world is changing rapidly. So I'll just keep it to 5 years.
But even 5 years is quite long. I mean, compared to what I mean, as a business lawyer and as somebody who has changed fields, who has ventured in lots of different sectors from time to time, I feel that the more we go through time, the more change is about decreasing time of change. When you talk 5 years, it's enough to talk 1 year. It's enough to think about COVID and what COVID has left in 1 year. It's enough to talk about artificial intelligence and where it's taking us in 1 year. I don't want to go 5 years. It's enough to talk about cross-border and virtual deals that are happening in the IT sector. It's a game changer. You know, those standard legal provisions that we used to put in our contracts, nowadays you look at them 2 years ago, they seem like their history. So improvising is not the right thing to do. There are two things to do at this time: learning and being creative. The only way that we can pull through with our clients' interest is to learn and to know more and to be creative about how to protect and how to realize their interests. What will happen in 5 years? I know locally in Palestine, we're working on new laws, drafting new laws, companies law, intellectual property laws. As in our firm, we're participating in these efforts as well, giving our input and long-time experience. So in Palestine, we're trying to cope. It's taking time, but we're trying. Globally speaking, I think it's more about the will of the parties and how to overcome and how to cope with substantive laws that are really going after these developments, but barely making it. So it's about being creative and learning more. This is what we need to do.
Well, thank you so much, Rania, for sharing such great insights with us. It was lovely knowing about your journey, and also you are a very inspiring woman, and I'm sure people who watch this video would get to learn a lot from you. We really look forward to having a chat with you again in the future on maybe some other trending topics in the international legal industry, of course. And for our viewers, if you really like this chat with Ms. Rania, please like and share this video, and also subscribe to ClickAway Creators YouTube channel. And you know how to do it. Press on the bell icon to appreciate what we do, and you have more coming in from the industry leaders. Thank you so much. This was Bharti for LexTalk signing off. Take care. Bye-bye.